manipulate text and video. It connects to a projector and reflects the content that's on your computer. There's a variety of features, one of which offered through the SmartBoard software, one of which you're seeing now. To find those features, you go to this little picture frame. And then you can either type your search in or just start clicking around. And this one is actually called, I don't have them all memorized. I just know what they look like. Note Reveal. So if you wanted to use this particular feature, you would come here, type in Note Reveal, and then you're not limited to just blue. There are other colors like brown and green. The whiteboard, you can also save your material. You can save your recording. Your presentation can also be exported as a PDF that you can throw up into your Moodle shell. So if you're in an in-seat lecture, you can run through your presentation. At the end, export it, save it, upload it to Moodle. Your students will have access to that. There are lots of little features on here that can enhance your presentation and draw attention to your critical content pieces. This is Hide and Reveal. So you can go through and talk about whatever it is that you're talking about at the pace that you want your students to be going. Drag and drop, meaning you can drag things and categorize things. Hide and Reveal, I think I'm displaying that pretty good right here. Highlighting, the pins are down here. You have a variety of pins. This is just going to be a regular marker that you see down here. If you want a highlighter, you just click the pin button and you are able to highlight. You can change that color of the highlighter in there. That little arrow right there is really important. The reason why it's important is because after you click one of these buttons and then you stick the finger back up there, you're going to get a highlight, or my favorite is when I've drawn a circle and I think I'm ready to write on my circle and I stick my hand back on the board and all of a sudden I have 5,000 circles on it. So if you need to get control of the board, that little arrow, it's like a cursor arrow. We have animation, so you can make things grow, shrink. Yes, ma'am?
Sorry, I have a really basic question, I think. Are you working within PowerPoint right now? Or
No, this is the SmartBoard software, which, if you want on your laptops, you'll contact us at the center at Midway, and we can help you get that on your laptop.
can you get all of
All of this.
all of the PowerPoint that I have built over the years and make using this SmartBoard stuff?
You would have to, you probably, I tried to do that exact same thing. I was an advanced geometry teacher, and I had years of PowerPoints where I actually used animation in PowerPoint to display proofs and stuff, and when I brought it over to the SmartBoard, I really did have to kind of create those again.
Okay.
But you can use the PowerPoint and still use your marker like I've been doing the last couple of days. That you can do, but you don't get all this fancy stuff.
Okay. And what about recording? Can you record?
We've been
recording in PowerPoint.
Yes. So like yesterday when I was telling you about active learning, I had the Smart software up and running and recording my PowerPoint.
So you were projecting the PowerPoint and recording it on.
Using the software. Okay? To animate, what you want to do is I want it to stop for a minute. Feeling pretty good. To animate, you click what it is that you want to move, and then the easiest way is properties. That is where you see the color grid all kinds of little things like that. So what else can it do? Quick retrieval of material. I explained you can save and go back and do all that stuff. And feedback, we don't really have the SMART system, the SMART response system, but there is a clicker system that goes with it. This was actually taken from my research presentation proposal, but if you have the clickers, then you can have it interact with your board. All right, what else do we have? Oh, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my research and what I found out about this lovely piece of machinery here. So my study originated from two areas of research, and this is before I was schooled on how to search for things. So I fell in love with work example research, and that's not just limited to mathematics. I do want you all to understand everybody uses examples in their classroom. And so it can apply to your type of example versus my math kind of example, which is what my study was about. Little did I know that that is an extremely saturated area of research. It's probably one of the most researched things in the planet, as far as what I can tell. And then, after about 8 years of teaching in the public school system, I'll be quite honest, I was getting pretty sick of it. And I was not liking what I was doing, and they put the smart board in my room, and it was almost like I fell in love with it again. And so it was a meaningful thing to me. I was like, okay, I want to do my study on this. And so I had labored through billions of worked example journals, articles, and I fell in love with the smart board and did a lit review about that. And so what my research study was, how can this affect what's going on in here according to what features that we're using? Now, the smart board is really good at displaying relationships between certain items. So, for example, if I were to discuss the conceptual framework for my study, I could easily draw a diagram and show how all of these things are related to each other. And, let's see, got to get my pen back. And how they relate to my research question. So concept diagrams, mapping, any type of stuff, brainstorming, any type of relationship between content pieces that you all have, this is a really good little feature. Yes?
So if we do something like this, and obviously you're recording, so you're getting a recording of it, but what if I want just like a screenshot of what I just did in the class on that? Is there a way to like export that little graph with its arrows and stuff that you just did?
Wait a few slides.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm glad you asked that question because I actually threw that in there while the library instruction was going on. Yes, ma'am. That's fine. That's what we're here for.
So in PowerPoint, you can put a figure and paste it so that each little tiny fragment of the figure can be used directly. You know what I'm talking about? So if you're like taking something, you can paste it, and I forget what the command is to do, so that you have your figure and each thing becomes independent thing that can be used.
Right.
And you do that on here so that I could take like an image from one of our textbooks, paste it to the smart board, and be able to manipulate the pieces that we just fit for the students. So like the ribosome stuff can be along with DNA or something like that.
So you were wanting to use it for a simulation kind of thing.
Yeah, like you could put a figure.
Well, you would have to chop those pieces up. Yeah, you can't you can't just put a picture on there, an image, and then extract from that image.
Okay.
You would have to have individual components.
That's what I'm saying. PowerPoint, you could paste it where they all where it's pasting it individually.
One single image?
Split up for PowerPoint. If it works in PowerPoint,
It's gonna work here.
It's going to work in Prezi. But to tell you the truth, Prezi is going to be your best tool for what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a question over here? Okay. what else does it do? Oh, so this is kind of a hide and reveal thing. So the interactive whiteboard, this would be my matrix analysis for my lit review, found that, oh wait, there's going to be 1,000 lines underneath that box. That arrow is critical, man.
At least it's not a million circles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really going to tell you that. Get out of here. So you can move things wherever you want. So what does it do? It directs learner attention. You're engaging them visually, okay? It provides a platform for discussion. Now that's a huge component to my research project because one of the strengths of work examples, or one of the components of work examples is if you can explain the example to somebody else, then you pretty much know it. So self-explanation generates concepts to go to the long-term memory because you are able to talk about it. So that's how these two got married together. Work examples, if you know the work examples and can explain it, then you know how to do that problem type. If you are using the whiteboard, we now have a platform to talk about with, okay? Can present multiple representations of concepts, I showed you that earlier, and it addresses all your little modalities for all your different types of learning styles. Dialogic teaching and learning, it facilitates discussion because it's kind of mediating our talk about the features of the board. It's happening right here. Our attention is here, we're talking about it. Different features and manipulations can aid in different types of discourse depending on how you want to direct the conversation for your students. And then now we kind of all understand together, joint reference, that if you're clicking and it's not working, you probably want to hit that arrow. Okay, so now we all understand that together because this little beauty is standing in front of us. All right, so the other thing you can do is pop questions up. Now, we don't have that smart response system, but we do have the little format things up in your little toolbox area. So here's where you could use, red card true, green card false, if you wanted to do something like that. Or if you can run this simultaneously with poll everywhere, you can have students answer on their phones. So there are little things like this in that toolbox that you can use for short, quick, formative assessments. Now, teaching with the whiteboard. It started kind of a new pedagogical practice, interactive teaching, which is almost talking about our paradigm shift yesterday, not focusing on content, but focusing on the student and the learning that's occurring. And in the research, it shows there are 3 different approaches to using this when you go teach in your classroom. Supported didactic, interactive, and enhanced interactive results. Now, the literature showed that the enhanced interactive approach is where the greatest sense of learning occurs. And we're going to define these down here in a minute, and then I'll tell you what my study found out. Okay, so back to your question. Now, here I have that first. I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to look for the camera. Okay. So, what you're asking, can I take something from one page to the other? So here's a little camera. It gives you the option to take the whole screen take part of the screen or whatever you want. So you just, I'm going to take, no, that's not what I want. This part is new. Hold on. So I just took a picture of it. I'm going to copy it and paste it, resize it, and now I have that on my next page.
But can I export it then? I know you said the whole program will export out to a PDF.
Yeah, and I'll show you how to do that at the very end. So, but you are able to take, like if you guys are doing something, all of a sudden you need to move on, but you want to refer back to it, you can bring that up to the slide that you want. And this is the supportive didactic. The only thing I did here was just kind of highlight it. So I'm not really using the interactivity of the board, but I am using it to point attention to the content that I want people to pay attention to. There's not really any other techniques involved. It's more like a PowerPoint with a little bit of juice in it, like not much there. And then you have an interactive. Now, in interactive, you're helping students, you're challenging students' thoughts by using a variety of verbal or visual tools used to illustrate and develop and test concepts. Now, this one is the best example I could come up with. So we're reverting back to Algebra 1 days, and this was probably one of the most missed questions ever in the history of algebra. They want to say it's 3x squared. Hands down, that's what you get 95% of the time. And so I would come in here, and I take this magic pen, and I explain to the students, how many x's do you see here? And they go 1. And I go, okay, so there's a 1 in front of it. And then I say, so now what's 3x plus 1x? And they go, oh, that's 4x. And so in a minute, the 1 goes away, and I go, now what's the answer? It's 4x. So you have a powerful moment there. And that little magic pin is fun. Now, the other thing, the magic pen, if you're still not getting it, and you get that teacher frustrated, like, how can you not get this? You can really, oops, hold on. You can really point things out. Now what's the answer? And then if they miss it, just go on to the next slide. You gotta cut your losses. All right, enhanced interactive is like, this is where it's at, okay? You've got students using the board, you're using the board, everybody's happy using the board. This is where simulations really come into play. So you can link to things. You can ask them later. And if you're one of those, you're having a talk about this kind of math that I don't know real well, which is why I taught algebra, and show relationships, and you can talk about it, and you're talking about it. You see that? It's something to talk about. If you are in public health or nursing, you can play these, let's see, disease detective. Just need a little downtime. And this is all interactive, and you can, I haven't played this, oh, I just closed it. Anyway, you see the point there, right? Is there a way to put a YouTube video, have it come on, like we have up the screen, have some questions over to the side while the video think I've ever embedded a video, but I can check it out. Probably what I'll have you do at the end of this session, when we're all done playing, is fill out cards with little things that you want to know how to do, and I'll get to you after Friday. I got lots of courses. All right, so here, the rest of this isn't research oriented. It's just to display the other things that I like. Oh, back to the research study. I found that it was the second group, the interactive, where the teacher used it most of the time, or all of the time, but used the more interactive features. That's when the most dialogue occurred. The reason why that happened, and I didn't get the enhanced interactive, is because the students weren't familiar with the technology and therefore were more worried about making it work than what we were talking about. Research shows it does take you about 2 years to kind of get super duper comfy with it, but that doesn't mean you're not better after using it one time versus no time. So that's kind of how that study rolled out. Now, if I just write it down and turn it in, that'd be really nice.
You want to do that for you?
So, rich phrases represents characteristics of active learning. Do I have a volunteer? Brittany. Take it us. I have people on my department. So, we've discussed active learning, and I want you to pop a balloon with a phrase that represents active learning. All right? Try another one. It's supposed to make a big pop, but this is big. Really? Listening, is it? Muddy. Oh, whoops, I didn't do that right. It's muddy blue collab. That's for the horse people. Muddy collaborative. All right. So you've got little things like that. If you're doing some kind of vocabulary or word association, that might, there's a place for that. Now, these look really elementary. All right. First off, let me explain to you that the interactive whiteboard originated in the field of business for collaboration purposes. Then as the K through 12 system came in, it was like, we can really use that. And it's K through 12. And then all of a sudden, higher ed jumps on at the end. So most of the features and tools in the toolbox are elementary, middle school, and that's fine. You can still apply it to your content. So like, for example, this way, if you are teaching people pieces of the house, which I highly doubt, but pieces of something else, you could do the pull tabs, where if you pull this over to 2, and then it labels it. So this is a really neat way to present pieces and parts. You guys present pieces and parts all the time. Horsey pieces and parts. Okay. Here's another one. Or here's one. Okay, one of you nurses people, come up here and put this in the right spot. Come on, come on, come on. Go team. I don't know where they are. Biology. You know this. Come on up here. Somebody come touch the floor besides me. All right. You're just going to get practice. You're ready. So you can just take and move it over. Just like that. Okay? Do I have to do all of them? No, you don't. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't know where I don't. Oh! That was his! Now I'm on a roll. Yeah.
Are there more lines down below that we're not seeing?
Yeah, we
like
can
the whole
feel the
images
line.
and up all sides?
Oh, it starts over here. I mean, look at the positive feedback. It spins when you get it right.
John Huddy, he won this some round year out.
Again, matching description, same thing. I know they're hot. There's only so many things that can stay in here. All right. Now, again, all of these things are doable in your content. Okay, they're designable within it. It takes some time, just like putting a PowerPoint together, but they are doable. Venn diagrams, everybody's got to use one of those every now and then. It's already in there. And then a couple of other things that they have. You got a spinner if you want to do something like that. Feeling like rolling a couple of dice. It rolls for you. And then they do have a built-in timer that you can search for. And you search for it all in here. Okay? This is where all the goodies are. Lesson activity toolkit, all kinds of different stuff. So that is it. What do you think? All right. Like this text? No, probably not. I don't think so. Yes, sir.
Could you demonstrate people's handwriting recognition? Because I use that all the time. My handwriting is very poor, but you recognize it and you take
Just write something.
yeah. Then now select.
I never use that. My handwriting's pretty good.
I mean, so that's what I do when I finish the test. I'll go back and clean everything up with that, and then we'll save it in PDF file.
Yeah. So I'll show you how to do that now. So, press.
Really cool thing to do with that I used to have my students do all the time. I made them do their brainstorming on the Whiteboard, and then do with just their handwriting, and then convert it to text, and that way they could distribute it to everybody who needed that. And it was easier and faster for them, and they really loved it. They felt that was really cool.
Before you teach us to export, one quick question. So you can save these files as Smartboard files, so you can edit them. Because I know, like, once you go into a PDF, it's harder to change.
Yeah, you can
the
save
PDF.
these as Smartboard files.
And are these like huge files? Like, we're not going to be, or there's plenty of room on here that we're not going to run out of space if we do all of our presentations now.
I had all of 22 geometry chapters saved everywhere. Like there was a problem with it.
Including the recording. So when you do the recording with the PowerPoint, it is one file or one file. It's a PowerPoint file.
This will be a what is it?
This is just going to be you can save it as any type of movie file. So it'll be something that you can upload to, for example, YouTube, and then put a link to, or or however.
It'll be like a .wmv or
So it's
MOV.
actually an MOV file or an AVI file or something. Okay. So maybe that's the issue I have is when I record on PowerPoint, it makes the file so gigantic that it doesn't go on the movie.
No. Well, you'll need to take that file. Any type of movie or video needs to be put on YouTube so that your students can have access to it. That's kind of an accessibility
And what I
issue.
did was exactly, it's an accessibility issue and an ADA issue. And so what I do is I just have a YouTube, like a Gmail account that's caroline.mandy.instructor. And at gmail.com, the only thing I use that YouTube account for, the associated YouTube account that for, is all my classroom videos. And so when I want to put quick one it does in the Moodle, I can just take the link from YouTube or the embedded code and copy it. Okay. I'm not necessarily talking about a video so much as, like, when I've done it on PowerPoint, I can, sit at home, I have to do my kids for class, and with each slide, I can voice record it, what I want to say for that slide, and then go to the next slide.
Right.
And then,
This just records it.
okay.
You don't have to hit it every time.
But is there a way to do that? And then have that as a Moodle rather than going on YouTube, just like it doesn't.
No, YouTube is where you'll have to dump a video, so for the accessibility piece of it.
Even if it's not like what we normally do, like a video, like it's moving, the
It's
fact
still
that it's
video.
a voice recording on top of PowerPoint makes it a video, because we want video files. And we ask that we use YouTube or some other video service like that, because if not, anybody who is a student who makes the savings from the country over this but this is good, is not gonna have equal access to those files as somebody who's maybe with a hard copy and having to go to their phone.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
So to export this as a PDF, you just go to File, Export As, there's all kinds of stuff. Here you can export as a PowerPoint. I've found that these two don't mix real well. Maybe it's different. This is a newer version than what I worked with a couple years ago, so I haven't tested that feature, but that might be something we want to check out. So PDF, there it is. You can have it's just like when you save a PowerPoint presentation. You can either have one of these on each page, or there's all kinds of different options, and that way. So, well, it's like a file, so it's a PDF. So either upload it or email it. Okay, so we're going to have group work. And you have been divided into groups, and you are going to go to the smartboard listed underneath your group, and you are going to complete these challenge tasks that I have ready for you, okay? And you need to kind of know how to move around of the smartboard a little bit in preparation for the faculty cut challenge. So this is like a workout before the big